Garden Variety, one of that's a forum user, Jenna.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Someone named Garden Variety, someone with the nom de plume of Garden Variety, wants to know if abolitionist campaigns would raise enough money, or whether we actually need welfarist or new welfarist campaigns to raise money. Because we were just talking about raising money and using animals, and I thought this question would fit there.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think that welfarist campaigns are counterproductive. So the fact that they raise a lot of money is irrelevant. Indeed,
Sure.
the more money they raise, arguably, the worse it is, because these campaigns only reinforce the property status of animals in the first place. So, I mean, the fact that they raise money, I don't really, yes, they do. Welfarist campaigns raise money, but think about it. That's logical, because they don't really challenge anybody. I mean, when welfarist campaigns, which basically take the position that it's all right to that it's all right to exploit animals as long as we do so humanely. Well, that's a position nobody disagrees with, and so obviously it's a big tent sort of position,
Sure.
but it's meaningless in terms of its content. And so the fact that it elicits that those sorts of campaigns result in a lot of money being raised, so what? I don't see the campaigns as helping anyway. The thing I think we've got to focus on is abolitionist campaigns don't need a lot of money. I mean, these organizations need a lot of money because they're, first of all, most of the people who are involved in these organizations, or many of the people involved in these organizations, not all of them, but a lot of them, are making a lot of money. I mean,
Sure.
These people are making six-figure salaries. They have huge expense accounts. They have all their meals paid for. They have all their expenses paid for. I mean, at some point in time, I'm sure an investigative journalist will get into the finances of the movement, and when they do, they are going to be horrified. The public will be horrified to find out. I mean, some of this stuff is already known about some of these organizations, but
yeah.
I mean, these organizations are engaged in conduct which I think is scandalous in terms of the amount of money that people make and the benefits that they have and the number of family members that they have on the payroll and stuff like that. I mean, it's just scandalous. But abolitionist campaigns require very little money. I mean, first of all, the most important thing is becoming a vegan. That doesn't cost you anything. As a matter of fact, you save a lot of money when you're a vegan. But
That's
I mean,
true.
becoming a vegan is really cost effective. And vegan, people ask me, what do I mean by vegan education? The answer is it's as unlimited as your imagination is. There's all sorts of things you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's putting up billboards by the the Denver Livestock Exchange, with Go Vegan. It's going to your local community college and giving, or your adult education program, giving lectures on animal rights and veganism and abolition and why people ought to sort of get rid of this stuff completely from their lives. It's doing things like these people in Spain who are setting up every Sunday and giving out literature about veganism and the relationship of speciesism, sexism, racism, and homophobia. It's things like Anna Maria Boglio in Argentina. Are you familiar with Anima at all?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't know anything.
She's a very, very interesting person. She's been doing this. She's been taking the abolitionist, position now. I think she read Rain Without Thunder in the '90s, and it really turned her on. And she's really, pushing forward with this. Very, very articulate, bright, very hardworking person. And she's basically got a small group down there, and she's promoting, animal rights and abolition in Argentina. There are a lot of things people can do, and it's not all that expensive. I mean, I have a website. It's reaching a lot of people, and basically, I'm doing it with a former student, a person who graduated a couple of years ago, and somebody who's very good with computers and with HTML. I sound like a computer person when
You
I
sound
say
like a nerd now.
Well, with HTML, and who's very good with HTML and Flash and all of these other things, and he's volunteering time. And people like Karen from Germany, who's volunteering time to do translations, and my other translators, who are all volunteering time just because they're into the abolitionist thing. It's not costing us anything. I mean, it's basically not costing us anything, and we're busy reaching 700 people, 800 people, 900 people a day, and it's not costing anything. So, there are all sorts of things that we can do that are very, very cost effective. And I reiterate that if you want to support things, find local things to do. I mean, I think, the sorts of things that you and Jenna are doing, fantastic. You're doing more
Thank
and
you.
reaching more and educating more people than these multi-million, zillion, trillion-dollar animal organizations. You're doing much more effective education, and you're reaching a lot more people with a coherent, consistent, intelligent message. And I'm sure people want to support things. Support what you're doing. They want to support things. Support the trap, neuter, return work that people like Animal Spirit are doing. Support Peaceful Prairie. Support these organizations, these small local grassroots organizations, because ultimately that's where we're going to get the change. It's not going to be imposed by these corporations. It's the way change happens, and you know this as well as I do. You're a sociologist. You understand this stuff, and you know that the way change happens, you don't impose change. Change comes from the grassroots. Change comes because people feel, because the moral paradigm shifts. And that's how change happens. It doesn't happen because you have people flying in. I used to say this all the time when I was really actively involved on a day-to-day basis with the animal rights movement, is that, as a matter of fact, when I first got involved with PETA, they had chapters. They had chapters. This is a little-known fact. PETA had chapters in different parts of the country. And Ingrid decided that she was going to close the chapters. And this was something I opposed, because I thought that the best way to spread the message was locally, and have local people working in local communities spreading the message. And that the last thing in the world we want, people flying in from Washington or people flying in from New York to various other places to tell people what the truth is. That never works. It has never worked. It's never going to work. The only way you change things is by changing things on a local level, and that's hard work.
Yeah, it is.
But that's the only way it works, people. That's the only way it works, and that's why I say people ask me all the time, who do I support? And I always say, look, I'm not an advisor. I can't advise you as to who to give your money. I can tell you, I give my money to local people who are doing trap, neuter, return work. I give my money to local people who are doing no kills. I give my money to local people who are trying to get death row dogs adopted. I give my money to people who are doing sanctuary work, abolitionist sanctuary work. I give my money to people who are doing abolitionist education on a grassroots level, because that's the only thing that works.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we talk about on our show fairly often is the idea that everyone, this sounds kind of like New Agey and a little flaky, but everyone is a unique and beautiful snowflake. Everyone does have some talent or some ability that they can bring to this cause. And I think everyone needs to recognize what that talent is, and it isn't just giving money. I think everybody has some ability to do something out there. And, I really think that that's one of those vital things for people to do.
Well, Bob and Jenna, one of the problems with modern animal activism is that these welfarist corporations have now convinced everybody that activism is taking your checkbook out and writing them a check.
That's right.
And that is very, very, very counterproductive and dangerous. That's not, people ought to be doing things themselves. This idea, a number of people have been writing to me since I put up this website. A number of people have written to me saying, why don't you start an organization and we need to have you as a leader. And I write to them all and say, the last thing in the world we need, more leaders.
That's right.
We are all, if this is ever going to work, we need all of us to see ourselves as centers of change. Each of us needs to, and the idea that we're going to look to somebody else to do that is absurd. And we can't do that. And that's what we've done already. We've ceded we've ceded the authority to these leaders of these national organizations. And activism has become, let me write a check to this group or to that group. And that's never going to work. We need to see ourselves as moral centers for change, each of us. And each of us is capable of affecting and influencing other people. And if all of us who care about this were to only be concerned about the people that we have immediate contact with and the people that we can have contact with in our communities, we would have a nonviolent, paradigm-shifting abolitionist revolution in a fairly short period of time. We just need to believe in that vision and do it and act on it and have the confidence to do something about it.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Indeed. And that's the beauty of the internet, like you were saying before. You can do more with less. It allows us to do amazing things at the grassroots level.
You know what? The two of you are professors at St. Lawrence. I'm a professor at Rutgers. None of us have a lot of resources, and here we are sitting talking on a blog. And you know what? This Vegan Freaks thing that you do gets out to 1.5 zillion people. I mean, I cannot believe the number of people who heard my interview with you in November, and I mean, the responses are terrific. You're reaching a large number of people, and here we are, 3 academics. I mean, think about it. And think about the power of that. And what we need to do is sort of turn everybody on to the whole idea of we're all centers. All of us are leaders. I hate that word. I don't like it. But all of us are centers. And what we need to do is to sort of only focus on ourselves, become vegans. That's the primary thing. Each of us has to become a vegan. And then what we need to do is work on the people who are close to us. And if we all did that, my God, what a fantastic result that would be.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think what you talk about with the large organizations is we've ended up losing our own agency. We forget that we can do it. And to me, that is so frustrating because people often ask me, what can I do? And I say, well, I don't know. What can you do? You tell me. So I think we need to remember that. And your words are very powerful, and I very much appreciate those.